Good morning. This will be a microscopic examination following yesterday night's electrolysis experiment. I've taken 2 samples from the electrolysis chamber and also stained it with the eosin Y and methylene blue. Not by actual, proper staining. I don't have time for that now, but just by dropping, mixing it with the color. It's not the proper way, but I need to be quick now. Should say that electrolysis was strong because of the strong transformer. Of course, it didn't last the entire night, maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, no more than that. And then disconnected, and then left overnight. The fact that, it was left overnight in this context, in the context of creation of neurons, is actually beneficial because it clears the DUDs. DUDs are DUDs, how we call, the ones that are only half-baked, and when you disconnect the electricity or you stop the fire in like crucible experiments, they usually just dissolve. They do not continue the creation process. So after the night, it should be like clear of any doubt. So the actual neurons that we will watch under the microscope are real neurons and not like ones that are in the baking, but not real ones. So let's do it very quickly because I don't have much time, but it will be a good reference. And if we find the solution, good enough, we can use it for the DC over air experiment later today. If not, we'll do, according to what we'll actually see, we can devise more steps, like, to how to multiply the neurons, because we want, again, the purpose, the objective is that in a relatively small amount of liquid, we'll have many neurons that were newly created, so they will be primed to each other. So if we, separate it to 2 containers, statistically, a lot of neurons, and when I say a lot, many neurons, approaching 50% ideally, or maybe if it's just 40%, it's acceptable, would be primed to a Stargate that is located in the other container. Of course, the statistical limit for that is 50%, but it's closer to 50% is better. That's a huge one. We can already tell that this mixture is, as I mentioned earlier today, not for the record, is skewed towards the bigger ones. Which is actually not, it might not be that beneficial for us. Yes, they were created. Certainly we see much more than we've seen in the reference, many more, but huge ones. Is that good or bad? It's a question. It's not bad. I would say it's interesting. But I don't know if the smaller ones are there, but maybe are not seen because they are obscured by too much methylene blue, which is optional, which it might be the case. Like we see very big ones. This is 64 magnification, and we see very big ones. Actually impressive ones, I would say. But we do not see smaller ones that, as expected. Perhaps because of the methylene blue. It's possible. There's too much metal in blue. It was because I just, I just, so, just mix it with material, which is not the proper way. This is 160 magnification. You see the white ring, which is very impressive. Let's try to see if it's possible to use the 600, not maximum. Usually it's difficult to watch things, when you use with such magnification with such a dark medium. You see movement in such dark mediums because, it's natural because it's newly created slide. And also, if I touch the cover with the lens, which is possible with this maximum magnification, it creates new flows, like right now. We don't see smaller ones. Maybe they are obscured, maybe they were not created, as much as they should have. Okay, let's watch the other sample quickly. I can tell that I think I will, before we continue, I'll do another electrolysis, additional electrolysis, but now with changing the symbolic language. With a change in the symbolic language. So this is the other slide. This is colored with red, with the eosine Y, which is the red color, which is less suitable for neurons for experience. But I just wanted to have like this reference. It's less effective in raising the contrast, which is what you want. But it's still also we see neurons, of course. Roughly the same distribution as the other slide. Again, geared towards the bigger ones. Even huge ones, I would say. It seems that, most of, the effort was to create bigger ones, not the smaller ones. So the material was kind of split into the two sides. Okay, it's about the same result. We see nice ones and big ones, but we don't see many smaller ones. So we will run another electrolysis session of maybe 15 minutes when we'll get to it later today. This time we'll use kind of I would say other new I will introduce other parts of the symbolic language, new parts, in order for this thing to be more effective. But let's get back to it later because we still have things to do now with regards to the moving. So that will be all for now. Not bad results, but I would say inadequate for what we want to achieve for the purpose of the DC over air thing. So we'll continue working on that.